everyone. I wanted to do a quick update because I know with holidays and family and friends that it's kind of hard to take some time for yourself and get some self love. But I wanted to do a quick 11-month update to remind you to take some time for self love. This month was for sure a reminder for me to do it. 11 months in, I feel pretty good. I probably haven't felt as good through the full year, so I'm very thankful for that. Very thankful for my health. I will say stress and the lack of self love will for sure bring symptoms. This month for me was a really big reminder of that. Um, the month started out pretty good. My husband had to go overseas for a business trip, and so I had pretty much all the household duties to myself, as well as year end within my job is pretty hectic and it's very busy. And then on top of that, I decided to redo our bathroom, one of our bathrooms, because why not, right? I wanted to do it before the holidays and I wanted to get everything done. And then in the middle of that, my parents had a just a sudden situation come up, and I had to take their dogs in, which it wouldn't be such a big deal because there are only two dogs, but it was I was by myself that week, so it was just a lot of added stress. I think not taking the time to decompress and you know being able to just overdo things. It was quite easy to do, and I felt really good during that week, and I was able to do everything that I needed to get done. However, the week after that was quite a reminder and a wake up call for me to slow down and to take it easy. Um, I started having my pot like symptoms, my long haul symptoms just flare up like crazy. I started getting things that I hadn't had in months and months. The fatigue kicked in. The heart palpitations are still pretty strong. I'm still dealing with that. The pot-like symptoms, the fainting. I had two fainting episodes through the month, and it's just a wake-up call for me to just slow down. Any long hauler will know that if you go to the ER, which I did after I fainted twice, everything was normal. And it's very infuriating sometimes because you don't feel well, you don't feel right, you feel sick, and then everything comes back normal. But it really is just a reminder to take it easy, to pace myself. The anxiety came creeping up, obviously, because of the symptoms were there, and I hadn't had some of those symptoms in months. Obviously, those negative thoughts creeping of, oh, they're back. Oh, I'm gonna, go back to the beginning, and really, it really does show me the strength that anxiety will have on your health and the hold that it will have on it, because it obviously made every symptom worse. I thought my anxiety was really well under control, and I see that during the flare up phase, it wasn't. It really, I need to just make it a priority. So like meditation, prayer time cannot be skipped. Like it just cannot. So that's a good lesson learned. It's a good lessons to bring into the new year for me. It is kind of bittersweet around these times because I got sick on the middle of January of this year, and so middle of January next year, which is only a couple weeks away, makes it for me a little bittersweet and a little daunting. I kind of had a weird personal goal to be 100% better by year one. And I think it's a very unrealistic goal, but it's a goal that I kind of had in the back of my head. I wanted to be 100% better. And I think creating those goals actually, it's a burdensome, not only to like the mental state, but also to your soul. So I've learned to let my body heal on its own time frame. But because I made that goal back, months ago, at the very beginning, it's still kind of there. Like, oh, it's gonna be a year, and I'm not 100% to where I want it to be. I want it to be normal. I want it to be what I was before COVID, and obviously that's not very realistic. Another thing that I noticed this month is probably because subconsciously I've been thinking about that 1 year mark. Success stories are triggering for me. So I have decided to completely get rid of social media. The stories that are out there are very beneficial and are very constructive and very supportive, and some of the groups are amazing. There's amazing people in there, but I think there has to be a good measure in terms of what aids and what doesn't, and understanding your triggers. I had noticed that as my symptoms began to increase this month, I ended up going to those support groups more, and like asking more questions and reading posts and going to through all their some of the success stories, or maybe not success stories. And I found myself that I'm kind of creating that vicious cycle, and I'm feeding off that anxiety with the social media. And although some of those groups, again, are very good and very supportive, and I really encourage you to be a participant of those, you kind of have to be careful and have to be measured. Just like any other social media, we don't want to get inundated with it. It was a really good reminder this month. So I'm actually trying to be social media free this month. It's kind of hard with the holidays because you kind of get sucked in. You want to be, social with your friends, virtual friends, and all this stuff because of the holidays. But just trying to find some time to really be conscious and mindful of and purposeful of what I'm doing on social media. So that's a good reminder as well, and a good lesson learned. So as I begin the year, where am I at? I've done so much, and I've shared it, and I will continue to share it. I think that being able to relate and understand someone's journey is very beneficial for a lot of people. I've met so many people online that have probably more years into their journey, and hearing, where they are in their season in life has just aided me a lot. Coming up here, I will be doing some more trigger point injections on my neck. I do really believe that trigger point injections do aid me, specifically with the chronic neck pain and a lot of the tension headaches. It just provides that relief. It does not help me with dizziness. So trigger point injections are more triggered for pain, for those stress kind of like headaches, tension headaches. They really aid a lot. So I will continue doing those. I have been dabbling a little bit into prolotherapy. I'm not quite there yet. I still want to do a lot of research regarding that. If you have any experience regarding some of those injections, prolotherapy or PRP with a plasma, let me know. I'm looking into that as well. I've had neck issues for a long time, and I've shared a little bit about that. I had a car accident in 2012, and it created whiplash, and unfortunately, I was then re-injured by a chiropractor doing the high velocity neck manipulation, which is very scary. I will caution you and recommend that you do your research before going to a high velocity treatment, because it made my neck 10 times worse than what the car accident had done. I have been chronically maintaining my neck pain for a long time, almost, well, 10 years. And it was very much under control, but with COVID, it like completely just flamed everything up. And the typical maintenance that I had, which typically would be dry needling, massage therapy, cupping, a lot of the alternative ones, acupuncture, it's just not getting me the relief that I once had. So I wanted to kind of look into something a little bit more, maybe in depth and a little bit more aggressive than the typical alternatives that I've been utilizing. So trigger point injections have been helpful. So I've been dabbling into prolotherapy a little bit more. I actually just had a good conversation with my doctor regarding Stelligate block injections. Stelligate ganglion block injections, and I'm going to be researching that a little bit more as well. That's another thing that she said she's been seeing some success in terms of the long COVID symptoms as well as migraine mitigations. So a lot of things on the table. I also have Botox on the table. I considered it, but back at the very last minute, I just didn't think at that point in time was the right choice for me. But it's still on the table. There's just a myriad of things, and that's kind of why it's a little bit overwhelming to figure out like what's good for you and what's good for the body. For now, I am at 25 milligrams of nortriptyline, and it seems to aid. Obviously, I'm able to do my normal things. I still have really, really good days where I feel normal. And then some days I don't. Some days are very, very not normal at all. But overall, in the scheme of things, I really am happy and content where I am. I will say that I tried to increase the nortriptyline to 35 milligrams and found that it gave me a little bit more of heart palpitations as a side effect. Because of my pot-like symptoms, I cannot continue increasing it, so I will have to figure out where I'm at. It's kind of a love-hate relationship with nortriptyline. I really love the results that I'm getting because all the other medication hasn't worked, but it took a while to get there, and the side effects were pretty extreme when I first started it. And now if we go look back to my journey, it took me about 5 to 6 weeks to figure out the proper dosage, and then also figure out when my body actually like started metabolizing it correctly. And it took a long time. So because of that, I'm very afraid to start any other type of medications, and my neurologist is also very hesitant of switching me because I had such an uphill battle with finding the right medication for my body. I'm continuing with beta blockers. Metoprolol is working, but I have found that my body now kind of has gotten a little bit too used to it, and I'm not getting the benefits of it. And if I increase the dose, I actually get much more side effects. So I will be following up with cardiology here soon to figure out what potentially would be the best beta blocker. It had been working really, really well until now, but you know, body changes all the time. So chemistry changes, so it's just not working as I want it to work. I'm still on naratriptan. Naratriptan has definitely given me a clear understanding that vestibular migraines is one of the issues that I'm dealing with, and one of the diagnoses at the beginning, because everything is jumbled and I couldn't really understand what was what. I can definitely now accept radically accept that vestibular migraines are part of my day-to-day issues. Naratriptan is a godsend for me. did not have any other success with any other of the triptans, but Nara did it for me. It is great for me. I'm able to take it with minimal side effects. It does give me heart palpitations, but I have POTS and pot-like symptoms, so everything gives me palpitations. Even Tylenol and ibuprofen give me palpitations sometimes. So it's something that I'm used to. So it really has become a godsend with the weather. I was a little bit surprised, and I don't know why I was surprised, but I was surprised, maybe caught off guard on how the winter has impacted my vestibular migraine symptoms. When weather like patterns come through and the barometer goes down or up, wow, it's just insane. Like, my migraines will completely go off the charts. My ear symptoms that I haven't had in a long time, all the labyrinthitis, tinnitus, um, muffled sounds, earful, ear pain, all of that comes back. And it's like all based on the barometer pressure. So it really solidifies what the diagnosis was for me. As well as because I have been really good about my anxiety and controlling my anxiety throughout the months, I can completely understand now that 3PD is definitely a diagnosis that fits my criteria because it's very anxiety driven. It's very visual. For me, 3PD is very visual driven and it's very anxiety driven. And it's kind of like a loop. The more anxious I am, the more dizzy I become, the more visual issues I have. So definitely I can see that is definitely something that is intertwined with the vestibular other issues that I have. One of the other things that I wanted to share was I did go to Mind Eye Institute in some of the suburbs of Chicago. I think it's Northbrook, Illinois. You can Google it. Very good, very thorough neuro-ophthalmologists. They really relate to brain-like issues relating to vision. And I'm very happy with the results of what they found. They did find that my eyes cannot coordinate very well. My left eye, which I've been saying this over and over and over, my left eye does not coordinate very well. It has a slow process time, and with a lot of the tests that they did, they were able to confirm. And one of the things that I really liked about it is that the doctor wanted very little information regarding exactly what my symptoms were because she wanted to figure out, what she saw versus what I thought I felt. And hold and behold, they matched. So what her diagnosis was and what my symptoms day to day were, they matched completely. And I was very convinced and validated regarding my vision. Because my optical nerve is very clean and healthy, there's really nothing that COVID did in terms of structural damage. Every structure is very well, it's very healthy. The functional damage has been done, and that's what is creating a lot of my blurry vision, a lot of the double vision sometimes. It's because my left eye was functionally affected by COVID. It was really good to get that validation. I have special prism glasses that I was prescribed. I'm still trying to kind of work through that because it's a different type of glasses. If I wear them too much, they do tend to give me a little bit of more brain fog. So I have to find the right balance of when to use it and when to not. I also got some good purple glasses that they found would counteract my fatigue and help me with my migraines. I do wear those and they have been very helpful. So for those of you who have struggled or with vestibular disorders or with long COVID, and or also any other type of brain injury or any type of mental health that would potentially impact vision, I would highly recommend Mind Eye Institute in Chicago, Illinois. Very good. Do your research. It is not covered by insurance. You have to do out of pocket, and it'll be out of network. I did file an out of network claim for myself, and I can tell you, unfortunately, there's not a lot. Depending on, obviously, in the U.S., there's so many different types of coverages for health insurance and eye insurance, so make sure that you do your research. But for me, it was really mostly out of pocket. I would really say that it was worth it, not only for the fact that potentially the glasses will aid, but for the validation that it gave me. So if that is worth the money to you, I would recommend. If it's not, then do your research as well. There's other neuro-ophthalmologists all over the country, so make sure that you do your research as well. I am continuing the 16-week program with Mayo Clinic and regarding with the long COVID program. A lot of patient education, which is really great to learn about dysautonomia, to learn about what COVID impacts and how it impacts the system. Very good classes, very good webinars, very good follow through with some of the nurse practitioners. I feel very supported. I don't feel that the long COVID patient education per se gave me any type of symptom reduction or some type of result because a lot of the stuff I had already done. And that's one of the kind of frustrating things about being put on a wait list with long COVID is before I could even get to Mayo for the long COVID clinic, it had to be on a waiting list for 6 months. By that time, I had already gone to another long COVID clinic. I had already done a lot of my own research, and so honestly, if you are really suffering from long COVID, I would still recommend it. I would recommend signing up really, really early in your long COVID journey so that you could potentially get the help you need. But if you are as proactive as I was, it's nice to finally get some validation and very nice to finally receive some more information regarding the impacts to my system. But other than that, I really didn't gain too much. I did gain a couple of perspectives, and they did tweak some of my medication here and there. And I also got confirmation on some of my findings. In the local hospital, when they tested for POTS, they couldn't get a lot of the tilting percentages. They said I did not have POTS. When I went to Mayo, their tilting table or their exam was a little bit more thorough, and so because of that, they were able to see a lot of the percentages and a lot of the drops that I was talking about. Also, they were able to see my oxygen levels dip, which was really good and really validating to have them see that. In the local hospital here, they weren't able to replicate that. So because everything looked normal, I didn't get the proper medication or the proper diagnoses. Once you go up there and they give you that diagnosis and they give you the medication, if you come to your local hospital or your clinic and they see that, then unfortunately, because they see Mayo, it provides a weight, right, of authority, and they treat you a little bit more seriously. I will say, because Mayo is on my chart and I have them there, I have seen the treatment in the ER and in a lot of the urgent care visits a lot better. I am not treated like I just have anxiety or, I'm making things up. I never was treated that way all the time. There were very few here and there. Um, but I feel like, especially this last ER visit, I have gone to the ER several other times where my oxygen levels were really low, my blood pressure was really low, my heart rate was really high, and I just felt horrible. And I've gone to the hospital in the ER several times during the year, and they were thorough and they looked at stuff. But I got to tell you, the last time I went to the ER, they were like, "Oh, who is your doctor?" And I'm like, "Oh, it's so and so." And then when they went into my chart and they saw the diagnoses and they saw the medication list and they saw, who were the providers, they were like, "Oh, okay." So they did a whole workup on me. Everything was still normal. But I'm just saying that unfortunately, especially in the US, there are certain medical institutions and medical centers that still have the brand and the reputation that goes along with that brand have a lot more weight in the terms of and determining potentially what your medical experience will be, which is really sad, and it really opens your eyes into the social injustices regarding the medical system and how broken it is, but it is a reality. So, for those of you who are able to and have the opportunity to go to a major health center or any of those medical institutions, John Hopkins, Mayo, Cleveland Clinic, any of those that have, substantially more research behind their name, I would encourage you to do so, not only because of your health, but also because it will facilitate your medical treatment potentially in the long run. Very sad, very true, but you sometimes have to understand that reality is the reality. Well, with all of that, I think I have summarized most of my 11 months to date. I am excited to spend some good time off and spend it with my family and have really good holidays. And I wish you all a really good journey. I hope that your journey is doing well and that we can potentially continue sharing our journey together. I will come back at the 1 year mark to figure out where I'm at and tell you kind of what my plans are going forward. But otherwise, I wanted to take just a little bit of time to wish you happy, Merry Christmas. Hope you have lots and lots of love and especially self-love throughout the holidays. May Christ just light your path through your journey. Thank you and have blessings.